Hey guys, in this video I'm starting off in the View Coffee Shop, and that's a place I'd recommend going to. It's a cafe. I think they also serve alcohol, but don't quote me on that. And it's a popular place with expats. Good place to go work online if you need to work online or go online for whatever reason. They have free Wi-Fi, and it's a relaxing place. I would definitely recommend it. So I'm walking down this street, and on the left here there is an organic supermarket. So if you need organic food, this is a good place to go. Right, I believe it's right here. And so I'm going to be walking through I guess you call them the back streets, the less traveled streets of Montanita during this video. And so one piece of advice I would give is if you are going to be buying, if you're a budget traveler and you want to buy some fruit, vegetables, items from a supermarket. They have supermarkets, smaller supermarkets in these back streets where the prices are lower. Obviously, you need a little bit of Spanish to maybe talk to the street vendors and whatnot, but that's not so hard. So what is Montanita, Ecuador? Well, it's known as a party town, but I found it's kind of a mixture because, for example, you get a lot of Ecuadorian families coming up there with grandma and the kids. They come up for the weekend, and depending on where you stay, it could be a party town or a very quiet place. For example, the first place I stayed was maybe about a 10-minute walk from downtown, and it was in a hotel called Casa Roja, Red House in English. And I just walked up from the bus stop with my bags and got a room. It was $30 a night. The first night there's other people there, but for the rest of my stay, the last 4 or 5 days, I was the only one staying in this hotel. And there was a couple of friendly dogs that would, every time I left the room, they would come up and say hi. It was great. And it has beach access, so I could just walk out the back. There's a large area in the back where you can, and also a little swimming pool, and you just walk out directly to the beach from the back. Now, the second place I stayed was the complete opposite. It was called the Cabanas, and it's a place where there's a lot of European backpackers, young backpackers, and also during the weekend it was kind of, again, a mixture. There's local Ecuadorian families would come up for the weekend with all the kids and grandma and take up a couple rooms. It was very noisy there all the time, without stop. There was a couple of discos within a couple of 100 meters, and they would play music literally all night long till 4 or 5 in the morning. And then in the morning, the families would come out with their kids, and they'd be jumping around in the pool. So that's not a place to stay if you want to have peace and quiet, but if you want to socialize, it's great. Another thing is, if you're staying on an area, the Cabanas is right next to this. I guess you call it a slow-moving river, small river, and mosquitoes love that environment. So around 5:30 or 6 every night, mosquitoes would come out, and it was definitely a problem in the Cabanas. But in the first place I stayed, not a problem whatsoever. This town has many different types of restaurants, as you can imagine, all types of food depending on what kind of food you enjoy. Take your pick. I will give you one recommendation, and that is a restaurant called Tiburon. Tiburon is the Spanish word for shark, and several people who live there recommended this restaurant to me. It's kind of hard to find. It's located on the second floor, small little sign, easy to miss. I went there 2 times. One time I got takeout, and both times I got vegetable risotto, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. There are many restaurants here that cater to local Ecuadorians with Ecuadorian food. A typical dish I noticed was fish with rice and plantains, and also there's quite a few Ecuadorian dishes that seem to be the different types of soup called sopa in Spanish. So you can try these. I went to a couple off and on, and there's a place called Big Pollo I went to a couple times, which is a place where you can get half a chicken, a dish full of French fries, and a dish full of rice for only $7 US. Another restaurant I would recommend. It's a little bit more pricey. It is a Italian restaurant called El Pigro, and the service is really good. There's usually a lot of people. There was a lot of tourists in there. Most of the times they ate there, but if you're in the mood for Italian food one day, that's a great place to go. And also the coffee there is amazing. There's a lot of dogs in Montanita all over the place. In town, on the beach. Actually, on the beach there was a couple of slightly aggressive dogs that were causing some problems. And you'll also notice you'll smell, a lot of people are smoking weed on the street as well. There's very little police presence here. The whole time I was here, I only saw like 2 policemen. I think they were in a hostel. Maybe there was some sort of issue in a hostel, but that was it. If you're going to stay in Montanita for any period of time, for let's say 2 weeks or more, and I met quite a few people there actually who went there for a week or 2 weeks and ended up staying a few months. I even met somebody who wanted to stay there for a month or two and ended up, he still lives there. Okay, he got married to an Ecuadorian lady, and he's been there for 8 years now. So anyway, if you're going to be there for a while, you may get to the point where you need something to do during the day. I mean, you can only go to the beach so many times. So I spent 1 week at the Montanita Spanish school, and they have lessons there. It's located, well, everything in Montanita is close. All you have to do is walk up the hill a little bit, and they have a building there with about, I think, 8 or 9 classrooms, and there's a few classrooms outside, so it's a nice place to take classes. And even better is when you go to this school, they add you to this WhatsApp group, and every week they have at least 2 outings. For example, one outing was to play pool, which was a lot of fun, and another one we went to Pigro, the Italian restaurant I talked about earlier. One time they went to the Lost Beach Club, which is a famous club in Montanita. I think it was rated. Yeah, somebody told me it was rated one of the top 100 nightclubs in the world, and one of the main reasons is the sound system in there. Somebody told me that the sound system was the best they've ever heard, and they've been to some very top-end discotheques in Europe. So not only is it the students that go there, some of the teachers go there, go to the outings, and you also will meet some people who live there who are associates of people who work at the school. So it was a lot of fun. And another thing to do that I was told, I didn't do this, but there was another town really close to Montanita called Alon, and it's only like a less than $5 taxi ride. I think it's maybe $3 or $4 at the most, and you can go there, and it's kind of like a more tranquil version of Montanita. I believe there's quite a few retired people living there from North America as well. And you can take surf lessons or surf if you already know how to. That's one of the things Montanita is most famous for is surfing. And so every day when you go to the beach, you'll see people surfing, sometimes little kids, 10 years old, surfing. And you can take lessons. So one of the things the Spanish school did was allow you to take lessons during the day for, I think it was 2 hours a day of lessons if you want to. Or you can just go by yourself and sign up for some lessons as well.